course, with 9 new drafted players plus a bunch of undrafted players. 2 of them come from UCLA, and the head coach there, of course, Chip Kelly, takes a few minutes with us right now. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. It was an awesome draft weekend for the Seahawks. All the experts seem to love it. Brock likes it. He's my expert, so we're in a good mood. Tell us about Zach Charbonnet. Who is he?
I think Zach's just a tremendous person, first and foremost. And I know going into the draft, everybody comes in and they always, and Brock knows it firsthand, they're going to poke and prod and try to find something wrong with any prospect. And Zach's one of the kids that I've always said this, is that the only red flag with Zach Charbonnet is there are no red flags. I mean, he does everything every day the way it should be done. He's probably one of the best practice players I've ever been around. His attention to detail, everything about him. You know, he may have been our best special teams practice player, and he never took a snap on special teams. But every day, his approach to special teams practice was amazing. And it's just the type of kid he is. And he knew that maybe he's going to have to play teams in the NFL, so he practiced his tail off. And we were smart enough not to use him on special teams because he was such a good running back. But that's the type of kid you're getting, that there's nothing he won't do to help his team win a football game.
What do you think his greatest attribute as a runner is?
It's a great question. I really love his vision. I think he's got, and it's a combination. I think his vision and his patience. You know, some guys are always they're hitting it too quickly and they're not letting it develop. And I think he has a really good understanding, because he's a really smart kid, blocking schemes and where plays are supposed to hit and the timing of plays. He really lets plays develop in front of him, and then when it does open, you know, he'll take off and hit it. You know, we always talk about its speed through the hole, not to the hole. And a lot of times that's clinic talk, but Zach really, you know, that's how he plays. And he's always going forward. You know, he's always going to gain positive yards. He's smart enough to know maybe not to bounce it, because you may lose a yard or two on this play. That let's play 2nd and 8 is better than 2nd and 12. But I think he's got a really good understanding of blocking schemes, and that's what makes him such a lethal back.
You've had, Chip, so many great backs in your systems over the years, and basically all of your stops. I don't know if you're a comp guy. Some coaches don't like comparisons, but is there somebody that he reminds you of, either that you've had or that you've watched?
Yeah, he's a little different than – I've had some bigger backs, and then I've had some really fast, smaller backs. I think he's kind of a combination of the two, but he reminds me a little bit of Matt Forte that used to play for the Bears, because I think he's so versatile. Because he does such a great job in protection. He does such a great job catching the ball out of the backfield. He's truly a 3-down back. You know, he can play every down. Some guys are 1st and 2nd down backs, but then they can't do it on 3rd down. Zach can do it all. So I think, you know, he's versatile, and I think that's the one thing you like about him.
I know that we're supposed to, in our business at times, fight bias. Chip Kelly here with us, the head man down at UCLA, but then all of a sudden you just see the way a young man interacts. You hear his story, and Zach's story with his sister and his special needs sister, and what she means to him, and coming back home to Southern California from Michigan. It impacts you. I mean, it's as you started this conversation, he's just a great human being with no red flags. Can you kind of speak to that relationship with his sister and with his family, and just, you know, how that kind of furthers the DNA of who he is?
Yeah, that's what kind of makes Zach special, is that, you know, he's in it for all the right reasons. And, you know, part of him coming back after his freshman year at Michigan was just to be closer to his sister. And she's an amazing human being in her own right. And it's such a neat bond to watch them together, and to see the joy that she has in what Zach does, but really the joy that Zach has with Bella. You know, she's amazing. Just she brightens up when she comes over to the facility to watch practice, or you see her at games. She brightens everybody's day, and that bond between the two of them they're really inseparable. And I know he was excited when I talked to him Friday after the draft, of, you know, the fact that he gets to stay on the West Coast is probably a little bit, you know, I think that's part of his excitement of going to Seattle, is that he knows that his sister's going to be able to see him play every week.
I don't know if you know, but the Seahawks have a pretty proud history of undrafted wide receivers from the Pac-12 making some pretty big impacts here. And we got another one this year from your program. Who's Jake Bobo?
Yeah, Jake's awesome. Jake was the leading receiver at Duke, and then they had a coaching change. So he put his name in the portal, and I have a great relationship with David Cutcliffe. And Cut told me that he's probably second to Peyton Manning in terms of being a practice player. That really got us excited. You know, we got Jake to come out on a visit, and he automatically became the leader in our wide receiver room and was our leading receiver last year. I think he's position versatile. He can play both inside receiver and outside receiver. He's 6'5". He's just a little under 220 pounds. He's another guy that would be an impact player when it comes to special teams. We did not use him on special teams because he was our leading receiver. He did a little punt return for us, and I know that's probably not the height, weight, speed you're looking for as a punt returner, but he was just such a sure-handed guy, did a little bit of that for us. But he's got tremendous range in terms of being able to catch the ball away from his body. He's a tremendous route runner. He can separate at the top of his stems, and he's done it to some really quality DBs in this league that got drafted. And you watch them in the one-on-one matchups, and Jake did a good job with it. So I think he's kind of a steal. And I actually talked to John Schneider on Saturday after the draft, and he was really fired up that he had a chance to get Jake. Everybody kind of thought he was going to go late. For some reason, he didn't. But I think they got a special one in Jake.